What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. Then we build them together, or if they don't rank well enough, we will go ahead and look at how to fix them and get them up to where they need to be. So today we are looking at the Ancestral Guardian Barbarian, introduced in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. And so if you are excited to learn about how to be the protector and the team player as a barbarian, then go ahead and leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Most of the viewers of this channel are actually not subscribed, and so it would really help me out if you would go ahead and just click that button. You can always change your mind later, and it really helps me out. We are working on possibly getting monetized in the future, and every subscription is one step closer, so please help me out with that. Also, leave me a comment down below, also helping me beat the algorithm, and let me know who your favorite ghost or spirit is from pop culture. So this could be anything from Casper to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Whatever you want it to be, go ahead and let me know down below. So the Path of the Ancestral Guardian is a very unique take on the Barbarian. It actually allows you to be the frontline protector and helper to your party, rather than just being the damage dealing, very selfish type of character, which is really interesting. This definitely gives me a lot of Mulan vibes, going up to the graves of her ancestors, asking them for help, them sending along Mushu to help her on her journey. Well, kind of by accident, but anyway, Mushu goes and helps her. So all I'm saying is, if you want to be Mulan, you could just take 3 levels of Warlock in order to get your pseudo dragon familiar from Find Familiar. That's all I'm saying. So you can do that. So let's see just how well this delivers on that concept. So at 3rd level, we pick up Ancestral Protectors. And so this allows you to basically channel the spirits of your ancestors to help out your friends, which is really cool. So basically, when you hit a creature with an attack on your turn, you are marking that target. That target now has disadvantage if it tries to attack someone other than you. And then if it gets through that disadvantage, its target now has resistance to that damage. So this is really great, right? So this can help out your other frontliners. This can help out your squishy people in the back who maybe can't take a whole lot of damage, especially to get this so early at level 3. This is really cool, right? I think that this can go a really long way. This is a 9 out of 10, honestly. The drawback to this is that it doesn't affect more than one creature at once. It only works on one person at a time. But, I mean, at the same time, if you're fighting a boss, it is at its most useful, which is pretty great. And then even when you're fighting a bunch of people, it's kind of forcing them to attack you. And if they're dealing bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, then you have resistance anyway because you're raging. So it all works together really well so far. So we're off to a really good start. So at 6th level, we get Spirit Shield, and this basically allows us to reduce damage done to our allies or just creatures we can see within 30 feet of us. Now we start out with 2d6, and it goes up to 4d6 once we get up to level 14, and this honestly isn't that bad because it does work in tandem with our level 3 ability. So as long as our friend is within 30 feet of us, then we've given disadvantage by hitting a target. We then have also given resistance to the damage, and then we are reducing the damage even further. So all of these are working together really well to where your people who are within 30 feet of you are going to be taking hardly any damage if the person that you are locking down is trying to hurt someone other than you. So this is especially great in boss fights. So the Barbarian goes up and just focuses on the boss, and it's not like you're sacrificing any kind of action economy or anything. This is because you're attacking them, you're getting these benefits. And so it's really cool. I think this is an 8 out of 10. I really like this. And one other thing that makes this really interesting is that you don't have to see the attacker. You just have to see the target of the attack. So if somebody is invisible, if somebody is anything, you can go ahead and reduce that damage. This makes a whole lot more sense as to why this is important once we get to level 14. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But just keep in mind, you don't have to be able to see the attacker. You just have to be able to see the person take damage. So we'll talk about this more at level 14. So 10th level, we get Consult the Spirits, and this allows you to cast either Augury or Clairvoyance once per rest, and you don't need a spell slot or any kind of material components. So let's talk about these spells for just a second. These are some prominent divination spells, and your results could vary slightly. So the first one is Augury. I personally don't like Augury very much. I don't think it's all that great of a spell, just because you are living in Dungeons and Dragons, where anything can go wrong at any moment, and where anybody can roll a natural one at any moment and ruin even the best plan. So rogue, natural one on stealth, and somebody else rolls really high on perception. You could be hiding and taking cover from something, and you're like, okay, we've got a way to escape. Sorcerer says, don't worry, I'll hold them off, tries to cast a spell, and ends up fireballing the whole party. Things like this can happen, and there's no way to predict that they're going to happen. And so your DM saying yes or no, it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, could vary and not end up being accurate just because of bad die roll. Or your DM could be slightly messing with you and tell you something's good when it may not be as good, just up to interpretation. I don't like Augury, personally. I don't think it's that great. Clairvoyance, however, is good, and is quite useful, especially to be able to just cast it once per rest. I think that's not that bad. So Clairvoyance allows you to normally have a little orb, kind of like with scrying, and you can put it at a point that you know, or from somewhere that is kind of obvious that's near you, so behind a door, around a corner, something like that, in order to do kind of some scouting stuff. You can't both see and hear at the same time. You can do one or the other and then switch them as an action, which is totally fine. And it is invisible, which is also good. Things with see invisibility or true sight can see this, but depending on the situation, that you may not run into something with that. This is a concentration spell for up to 10 minutes. And just remember that you can't concentrate while you're raging. So if you do enter combat, then you are going to lose this benefit to be able to see through this. But this really isn't a during combat kind of spell anyway. So that's not that big of a drawback. I think this is a 7 out of 10. I think Clairvoyance is useful. I think that other magic users probably are better with doing this, but I really do like the flavor of being able to call upon the Guardians to help you with either answering a question or with scouting purposes, them going ahead and helping. I love the flavor here, but I think that we could get a better protective feature for combat, which is what we're doing as a barbarian, right? We're combat focused. I think we could be getting a better fighting type of feature here. So that's why it's not any higher. I just think that as a barbarian, we're looking for something like that. So finally at 14th level, we get Vengeful Ancestors. And so this is going to build on our Spirit Shield ability from level 6. So basically now when we reduce the damage, which has now turned into 4d6, which is pretty good as far as a reaction goes, we get to bounce that back as force damage, which is pretty cool, right? Force is the best damage type in the game because it is very rarely resisted, so you don't have to really worry about that. And this also is very interesting in combination with how the Spirit Shield ability is worded. So I mentioned that you don't have to see the attacker, and this is where it gets even better, right? So if you've got somebody like Spell Sniper, somebody who is using invocations to be able to fire the Eldritch Blast from, I believe you can get up to about 1,000 feet with a combination of a bunch of different things, you could still hurt that person, even though they're that far away. Just part of your reaction. You don't have to see where it came from. You don't have to see any of that. You let the ghosts do it for you. I think that's an 8 out of 10 right there. I think that allows you a lot more flexibility. I don't know if rules as intended it was supposed to be you can see the attacker, but it does not say that. It just says you have to see the attack hit, and then you use your reaction. So not only are you helping your friends, but you're also now dealing damage and weaponizing your reaction, where you normally would only be able to do that on an opportunity attack. So this gives you another way to use that reliably, which is really, really neat. I think this is great. I love this. I think it really rounds out the kit really, really well as far as the protector, because I mean, what's a better way to protect your friends from damage than to just knock out the source of damage? That's the way I see it anyway. So that is our kit for the Ancestral Guardian. Overall, this is an 8 out of 10 for me. This is really, really great. I think you're going to get a lot of mileage out of all of these abilities, especially your level 3 ability. You're going to be using that all the time. There's no limit to how much you can use it. And then Spirit Shield also is going to come up all the time, right? It encourages you to stick near your allies. It breaks the typical barbarian archetype of all of the subclass features being very selfish and only being helpful to you. It's really great. It's really awesome. I love the flavor of it, of being able to consult the ancestors and them helping you out either with information or with just protection, and them helping to reduce damage, give disadvantage on attacks, anything like that is really, really awesome. So I love this. I love this subclass a lot. It is not as strong as some of the other options we will be discussing in coming weeks, but it is really cool, and it does lend itself to some really, really interesting multi-classing options, and we will discuss those in Friday's video when we build one together. So that's all I got for you today. Again, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss Friday's episode of our build or any of our future episodes on how to build these barbarians and how they rank. We, of course, are going to be covering all of these subclass options. So whether they are from Player's Handbook all the way up to Tasha's, we're covering all of them. And so I want you guys to make sure you don't miss any of those, along with builds for all of the good ones and fixes for all of the bad ones. So all kinds of really cool things coming up. So I hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you later this week. Stay healthy. I know it's crazy out there, but stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.